Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We this week are going to be taking a break from our normal teaching series through the book of Joseph in the first Sunday school class. And the reason for that is I am taking a class right now in Bible study teaching methods. And so one of the assignments for that class is for me to teach on a text that they give me to teach on so that they can kind of critique it and give me some good feedback. And so that's kind of part of why I'm doing this, and I'm trying to try out a couple different methods that I've kind of learned about in this class. And so I'm a big believer in doing homework, helping you guys come prepared. You guys know that I give handouts, and I want you guys to be able to think about things throughout the week before class starts. And so wanted to do something ahead of time to aid you to prepare for this class that we're going to have, this special session. So for this week, we're going to talk about the New Covenant, especially the New Covenant in Jeremiah chapter 31. Love that chapter. But to understand the New Covenant, you really have to understand the Old Covenant. So I just wanted to make this quick video talking about the Old Covenant. And specifically, the New Covenant is typically contrasted with the Mosaic Covenant, which is the covenant that God gave at Mount Sinai. It is a covenant where God made a contract with the people of Israel and officially said, you are my people, and I will be your God. And you can find almost a lot of the original parts of that covenant in Exodus chapters 19 and 20. And I'm just going to read this sample for you from Exodus 19. This is what it says. While Israel went up to God, the Lord called to him out of the mountains, saying, Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the people of Israel, You yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the people of Israel. And then, as you know, hopefully, that passage goes on, and God speaks out, and he gives the Ten Commandments, kind of the bedrock of a lot of what Christians believe about morality and ethics. And so this is really a covenant of moral implications. And there's a great article in the New Dictionary of Biblical Theology by a guy named Van Groningen, I believe his first, Groningen, sorry, I'm reading this, Gerard Van Groningen. Try saying that 6 times fast. And this article basically says that this is what would be called a suzerain-vassal treaty. And a suzerain is just a word for ruler or superior. And so in this treaty, this covenant, God is the spirit. He is the ruler. He is the leader. And Israel is the vassal. They are his people, that they submit to him. And Van Groningen says that there are really 6 elements that are really important and that you see in this. Really 6 important elements. The first is that Yahweh presents himself as the covenant-keeping God. He shows himself to be the covenant-keeping God. He initiates the covenant. The second element is that Yahweh sets conditions, that Yahweh tells them that they must obey him and keep his commandments so that he will be their God, that it is a conditional covenant, and it is conditioned on their obedience. Yahweh gave assurances. Yahweh promised them that they would be his people, that they would be a holy nation, they would be his, and he would give them the promised land. The fourth is this, that Israel responded with the affirmative. Israel, in just a short little bit, is going to say, they will say in verse 6, all that the Lord has commanded, we will do. They say, yes, we will do it. We will keep the covenant. And the fifth one, Moses, the fifth important element of this is that Moses is appointed the mediator. Covenants like this need a mediator. They need a point person, someone to stand between. And we see that Moses stands between God, Yahweh, and Israel. Moses is the one who stands in the gap and bridges these two and speaks to God for Israel and to Israel for God. That is his role. And finally, we see in this covenant that Israel had to consecrate themselves and keep a safe distance. That there's something about God's holiness which required them to be set apart because God is holy, and they needed to be consecrated and could not fully approach him. And all these things you see that there is a important implications and elements to the covenant keeping of the Ten Commandments. And I would add a seventh condition, which Van Groningen, I don't think points out, but I think it's important. And the seventh element is that Israel specifically was chosen as God's people. Israel was chosen as God's people. He didn't choose the Egyptians. He didn't choose the Canaanites. He didn't. But God, out of His pure grace, chose, as Malachi says, to love Israel. Love Israel. And He chose them as His own. He didn't have to reveal Himself to anyone. And so really those are the 7 elements of the covenant. Now, you guys know that there is a problem with one of those, and that is that Israel cannot keep the covenant. Israel cannot keep the covenant. They say, all that you have said that we will do, and yet they are unable to keep it. And that is what makes the new covenant necessary.